comparing him to before the match, the Colombian footballer?
Valderrama. Just with the hairstyle, nothing else.
The blonde Buffon, yeah. Reminds me a little bit of Marlo Bergamasco as well. Same hairstyle. So Prendergast, another one launched long way downfield. Not quite sure what happened there. Truman let the ball bounce away. Decided not to play it. It's worked out okay in the end for Zebre. Have got the clearance away, but Jamie Osborne would have been a long pass to Sam Prendergast, but he had gone quickly.
That is an absolute nightmare scenario from Zebre. Yeah, Monty Maori claiming that it was touch, so it would have been Zebre ball, but that's coach's killer sort of stuff. Trula letting the ball bounce on a throw to yourself and then kicking it out in the full. It's
her. Kelleher once more. Jimmy O'Brien, there's space opening up here. A lot of space. Amberlass just pops it off to Jordy Barrett, and it's back. And already Leinster have got their try bonus point.
Absolutely deserved that. There was no need for it. Find themselves inside their own 22, and it's clinical again from Leinster. So easy finding soft shoulders, good support line. It's just far too easy.
It looks fabulous, as it so often does. But listen to Stuart Barnes this morning on a podcast, the former England International Times journalist.
They've got the coaches, and you really only find out about yourself, don't you, whenever you get into those do-or-die moments, both individually and as a team. And unfortunately, from a Leinster standpoint, they've been found wanting in those.
Well, Jordy Barrett signed on a 6-month deal, sabbatical from New Zealand. Again, Neil Cullen's decision to start him on the bench against Northampton last week doesn't look like a very good one. Jerry, the natural starting number 8, that goes backwards and it goes into
Barrett brings. I mean, he's such an all-round brilliant player, but just his physicality there, he's just able to rip the ball off Jacopo Bianchi, who's a back row. Whenever you're down a pitch side and you're standing beside Barry, you do really realise the size of the man.
He's 6'4" and 16 stone.
Well, there you go. 11.
You remember all three Barrett brothers started the World Cup final against South Africa in Paris, and Sam Prendergast. There's an obstruction in midfield spotted by Sam Grove White. Yeah, they get against Northampton. Northampton saying, yeah, we beat the Ireland team. Well, they actually beat Ireland plus. Garthia, he's going to find a bit of space here. Will it bounce for Garthia? Oh, and James Lowe. Oh no. Zebre told him to leave it. So they've turned the ball over here. Off goes Big Joe McCarthy. 6'6", 19 stones. Jordy Barrett launches a spiral kick. Very much in the born flanker. Makes the tackle. Luke McGrath flicks it round to Ryan Baird. Big collision. I can hear it. An exhalation by Francescetto. Here is McGrath. Prendergast had no option really but to kick. Lowe was very, very wide on the touchline. There was
See, Trula's disgusted with himself, but he had an opportunity there to break the line, but at least get up further the field, and just another opportunity for Leinster to launch an attack, and they just look really sharp, don't they, for that previous weekend.
Well, what do you feel happened to the Leinster, the Jack Nienaber blitz defence? Phil Dowson, the Northampton coach, was saying this. They didn't prepare specifically for the Leinster blitz. They just tweaked what they would use against blitzes generally in the Premiership. What happened to Leinster? How did they break it down?
I think the biggest surprise, probably, reflecting and Sheer and Northampton were just always able to just keep that arm's length ahead, and on top of that, Leinster's inaccuracies in their attack, which up until then was pretty good.
Yeah, Tommy Freeman scoring a hat-trick. Henry Pollock screaming on the outside of Sam Prendergast for another one. Jamison Gibson Park is on for Leinster. So Luke McGrath retires from the game, and here's Joe McCarthy. Another big carry from him, no problem getting across the gain line today. Dermot Mangan, one of the great hopes for Leinster going forward. James Lowe has managed to pocket his way across the field to the other side and get support from Jimmy O'Brien. Here's Jamison Gibson Park, Prendergast. Here is Mangan offside against Zebre. Advantage to Leinster, all the numbers stacked on this side of the field. Which way will Gibson Park go? One of the best pass pickers in the world. Barrett takes it on. Leinster trying to roll around on the outside. Space you feel will open up here, and it does quite easily for Jordy Barrett, and it's another score from Leinster to help dampen the external and the internal noise after their defeat last week.
Yeah, and he's on 2 tries, potentially looking at a hat-trick, potentially before half-time is the way it's going. But again, it's just, a quality team like Leinster, if you give them phase after phase, field position, this is what's going to happen. And Zebre, particularly the last 2 scores, the architects of their own misfortune, and they're too good Leinster not to punish and score.
Just shows you look at Leinster playing like this against Harlequins, against Glasgow, and today against Zebre, yesterday down at the bottom of the RC. It does illuminate, though, again, just exactly how brilliant Northampton Saints were.
Oh, absolutely, and it was almost back to the best whenever they won the Premiership, and you never like, I suppose, singling out too many individual moments, but that try from Henry Pollock in particular brought me out of my seat as I was watching, trying to look after my 2 children. But that's those are individual moments, and they played absolutely out of their skin. Northampton fully deserved it.
Played his first Premiership game in October.
What a rise, and even I'm sure Irish viewers would have seen him before when England under-20s played Ireland under-20s down in Musgrave, Virgin Media Park, and got a glimpse of him there.
Has got his first shave, yeah. Off goes the Ringrose, gets the handoff away, and Jimmy Osborne is in support. Here's Gibson Park, decides to launch it. Montemore is underneath it. He's brought down by Jamison Gibson Park. And through the middle goes Nasuve. More direct line from Zebre. Stavile picks up, he goes directly as well, just managing to avoid an obstruction as he runs into the heaving belly of Pitanari. Jack Boyle with the ball. Is that a steal? Knock on. A little bit further back though.
Yeah, just a little bit scrappy, that passage of play. I thought it was a Zebre boot. Yeah, that just knocked it forward from out of Stavile's hands there, and they'll probably get a relief of a break, Zebre, even though they were just under the post only a minute or so ago.
blood for Jack Boyle. Zebre have been competitive 5 of their last 6 games. They lost 14 points to 6 to Glasgow. I was commentating on that game. Took 2 second half tries from Glasgow to pull away. 35-34 to the Sharks in South Africa. The only big loss they've had in the last 6, 63-24 to the Bulls, who are at the moment in second place now in the URC after their win earlier on today. But Leinster against Zebre, they played 18 times. They've won 18, 19 looking very likely as Andrew Porter perhaps prepares to come on for Jack Boyle. We shall see.
Yeah, hopefully that's nothing too major for Jack Boyle. It's okay, granted, probably not against the opposition he would want, but you want to be getting minutes. You want to get the feel of a scrum, feel of general play. Just looks like a little put above the eye, but just, yeah, I mean, just a little bit on Zebre season, punching well above their weight considering the budget that's available to them, the player base. I know that at certain points they would struggle to even get 20 on the field for a training session, and that's through injuries or through the size of the squad. So the fact that there has been an improvement in that regard, but the challenge is to make it better next year. It's not to regress. Don't just think that 5 wins all of a sudden you can't say you're world beaters or at least competitive. You got to try and back that up with 7 or 8 wins the following year. But certainly they had the chance. Lost last kick of the game against Bennett, and you mentioned that game against the Sharks. They could have won.
Well, Zebre before this season had 4 league wins in the last 3 seasons, if you can use that expression, in their pool in the European Challenge Cup. 4 straight losses. But as Ian says, they pushed Benetton in the Christmas Star, the doubleheader, beat Ulster and Edinburgh away in consecutive weekends, and they finish next week at home to Comet.
And you can be sure that's the game that they're certainly targeting to try and finish their season.
Yeah, well, wins against 3 Irish provinces in one season would be a tremendous result for Zebre. Here is Gary Regrose again. Far too much space afforded for Leinster in the middle of that field. Was that knocked forwards? And again, they offload through that straight, direct line, puts Gibson Park and Leinster on the front foot. Here's Clarkson now, Jordy Barrett, brilliant stuff. Ryan Baird in possession now. Gets his hulking figure through contact. Jamie Osborne as Kelleher is outside again. Kelleher is loitering, determined to add to his tally of 1 already, scored in the opening stanzas of this game. The hand comes in, intentional. Knock on, was it just a scrum, says Sam Grove-White. It looked like a flying leap into contact there from Ruggieri.
I think if it wasn't 33-0 Robbo, that would have been a yellow card. But again, it's just far too easy, just getting soft shoulders. But it's wonderful where we're sitting, because on this particular occasion, just even pinpointing Barrett, the intelligence, he's able to look, read and call as he's on the move, coming around the corner, and even a little change of line there, and his power is able to get through the contact. He is a wonderful player.
McGrath. It is a blood injury. Repaired. So he's back in the field. Nor does Luke McGrath have sleepless nights, being concerned that Canada might end up as the USA's 51st state. That's where he was born. Leinster have lost 3 of their last 5 games in the 2 competitions. There was one match, I remember it, 6 years ago in Parma in the pouring rain. Zebre 0, Leinster 3. Absolute cracker. Are you involved in that? Is it your fault?
No, I can't take any credit for that, Robbo.
I think it was a Ross Byrne penalty. That's from memory.
It was.
Penalty at the scrum. Off goes Conan. Shuddering tackle, but this should be another try for Leinster. It wasn't the most sensitive of passes from Baird to James Lowe, and then a bit of a ruffle and tuffle. not sure ruffle and tuffle are actually words, are they? Do they exist as words? But I think they're more onomatopoeic, I think.
Well, you get away with it. Yeah, it wasn't the most sympathetic pass here from Baird to Lowe, was it? Trula does just about enough, and sure, a little bit of afters never does any harm.
He didn't like what Trula was up to there, James. Long and away go Leinster again. They're close. They're over. Away for Appel himself, Roland Kelleher. We are allowed to place the ball immediately, but Sandro White was on the spot. So there was extra propulsion from the Leinster hooker, in his opinion.
Yeah, I'd like to get another look at that if we can. Ken, it was well read. What a take from Kelleher. Oh, in the letter of the law. Yes, I mean, if we go back to the old days, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that.
Mini scramble from Roland Kelleher. Would have been a second try. Here come Leinster again, being afforded possession. McGrath, Jordy Barrett to Jimmy O'Brien, inside to Jamie Osborne. Payea with the tackle, just does enough to get the imposing figure of Jimmy Osborne into touch.
Yeah, just with the clock ticking down now to half times, everyone want to get their line out sorted out, and we'll want this half to be over as quick as possible. Regroup, regather, try and take some bit of sting out of the game.
Baldi with the throw, taken by Stavile. Leinster 20 wins from their 23 matches played this season after winning their first 16 in a row. And they lost a game they really should have won down in South Africa. They got their scrummage all wrong when the clock was in the red. Clock closing in on the red in this first half, but still a minute to go. So time for the scrum to Leinster.
It's just far too easy, isn't it, for Leinster to get their paws in there to disrupt.
Another remarkable statistic last week. Southampton stayed 3 yellow cards, and while they were on one of them, they scored 12 points.
It is incredible, isn't it? And it was an incredible game. Under 30 seconds to go here. Can Leinster just look very sharp in the back line, conjure something else up here.
McGrath feeds. Pressure comes on almost straight away. Sam Pendergast, Jordy Barrett, Jimmy O'Brien. This is brilliant rugby. Jimmy Osborne. Simple as you like for James Lowe. It was smooth, it was languid, and it was effective.
Yeah, you were just wondering what role Jimmy O'Brien was going to play. See him in behind the scrum there, and it's wonderful timing and almost a no-look pass from Jordy Barrett, and the accuracy from Osborne to ship it to James Lowe, who probably counted in at about 50%. It was also easy. All the damage was done inside, and you'd love to see first phase tries like again from a Zebre point of view. It's just far too easy. And again, that's a little bit of magic that you love watching. Barrett, no-look pass, time from Jimmy O'Brien equals a try.
Pity I hadn't started last week. I should stop going on about last week, but I can't get it out of me. Sam Pendergast. Canada 15 on the Lions tour, by the way. Tag Byrne, Bundy Aki, and Mac Hansen, the other three who are not Leinster men. Miss Pendergast, but Leinster in full control of affairs here at the Aviva Stadium in Dublin at half-time. All over the place, contributions from top-class players, internationals, Lions, and soon-to-be Lions. Time score in this URC round 17 game, Leinster 30,